to beat the 25 and 5. You're asking for 5 tips as a TN's B69. I'll give it a go. All right, 5 tips to beat 25 and L. So assuming that you've already beaten 10 and L and 16 and L, which, goddamn, I found out was harder than I thought. JK, everyone on there is currently a recreational player. Go play microstakes, guys. Number 1, you want to suddenly add the next layer to your thought process. Assuming you've watched my masterclass, you've been able to beat all the other ones. You've been able to know how much people are going to call. So, you know, with this kind of hand, so you size your value hands or you size your bluffs in a very specific way to exploit their ranges. But what you really, really want to be able to do is now be in the head of somebody that thinks like that, be in the head of the other pros that play 25 and L, and be one level above it. If you can think, okay, what are they going to expect me to do with a bluff here? Only do it with value. Don't try and balance. Don't try and balance against these 25 and L unless you've already spent your whole career balancing, in which case, perfect. Carry on as you were. Get the fuck out of here, but carry on as you were. Try and represent a bluff if you have value bets, and try and represent value bets if you have bluffs. That's a really huge part of it. You probably want to tighten up on your whole pre-flop ranges and shit. You can't go as mental, but you can go more mental in some spots. I guess I'll just count that as number 1. Number 2, you really want to have the mental, psychological, and spiritual edge. And Illy winning, yes, of course you can ask anything. Why is everyone ending their name in 69, by the way? What's that about? Shout out to that. You want to be having this psychological edge. Maybe your talent could get you up to 10, 16 and L, but maybe there's something lacking to be able to help you beat 25 and L. Maybe your raw talent isn't quite enough to get you there without maybe some coaching or without maybe some holistic approaches. Maybe you need to eat healthier, and then on average you'll be playing your A game instead of your B game. Maybe you need to meditate before you do a session. Maybe you need to be less tilted at the end of a session when you lose a pot or something like that. All of these things, they add up huge. Imagine if you could just tilt 1 buy-in less per week. You'd be rich by the end of the year. 52 buy-ins in a year if you just manage to do 1 less per week. And 1 less per week, or 1 fewer per week, sorry. 1 less buy-in, 1 fewer buy-in. I guess we'll say fewer, even though it's kind of massive of money, but we'll go fewer. 1 fewer buy-in per week. Imagine if you could do like 1 fewer buy-in per day. Like a lot of people are probably punting and tilting off 1 buy-in per day if they're playing for a whole day. If you could do that, 365 buy-ins per year. That's crazy. So the mental edge, huge. Physical edge, eating healthy, huge. We'll count that as 2. 3. So we've done 3. Number 4, for being able to beat 25 and L, as I talk to fill in some time whilst my brain comes up with the right answer. Well, it's a tricky answer, the one that I'm currently thinking of, and I would say the next one is have a bit more proficiency in being able to play against recreational players and being able to separate when you're playing against recreational players and when you're playing against better players. The weird thing about 2NL is that the professionals are kind of also the same as the recreationals. They're kind of in the same bag. Like you get some recreationals that are better than some professionals. It's a bit of a mixed bag. But something you'll find when you get to the higher and higher stakes is you'll find there's more of a polarity, meaning there's more of a gap between the good players and the bad players. So you have to really be able to separate your mindset of when you're playing a good player and when you're playing a bad player. And you have to have 2 really compartmentalized ideas. That's 4. Number 5. What are we going to go for? Number 5, guys. Type in the chat if you know anything about how to beat 25 and L. Learn deep stack poker. I think that's going to be a good one. Because when you're playing Zoom especially, there are so many professionals up to the highest stakes, by the way, because their solvers ain't so good at deep stack poker. There are so many professionals that don't know how to play deep stack poker at all. When I used to play 500 in L Zoom, oh my god, it was the dream to get to like a 500 big blind stack with another reg, because they would still use their same fucking sizing for everything pre-flop. There was this one thing, they would 3-bet loads in position because they'd heard you meant to 3-bet loads in position, but they wouldn't do anything versus a 4-bet. So it would be like, I open ace 10 suited under the gun. They would 3-bet the cutoff, and I would press that pot button, and I would scroll up a bit, and I would 4-bet about 50% of my hands, and it worked a fucking treat. And as soon as you feel like they're starting to play back, then you start 4-betting ace queen, you stop 4-betting ace 10, you kind of widen your value range and stuff like that. But anyway, there's so many nuances to how to play deep stack poker that you should probably brush up on. And you know what? A lot of it's just thinking. A lot of it's just like, I wonder what I should do. I wonder what I should do in this spot. I wonder how it would change if I'm 500 bigs deep. I wonder if I could just rep the nuts. Can I start overbetting? Anyway, that's my top 5. I'm sure there are better 5 if I wasn't just on the spot. If you're enjoying the way that I'm speaking about poker, teaching poker, I do have a website, charliecarrel.com. Link is in the description below. You'll find on there a mindset masterclass, which I think is the most important, teaching you how to deal with tilt, anxieties, ambition, things like that. You'll find a poker masterclass completely teaching you how to restructure the way that you think about poker. And you'll find a complete archive of the bankroll challenge.